Is your job making you miserable? A lot of people it is, actually. Starting your own business might be just a ticket to a better life. According to a report which suggests that entrepreneurs really are happier than other people, and probably much richer as well. So that's probably why they're happier, come to think of it. Someone who agrees with the findings is motivation coach George Swift from Thancham, who joins me now. Hello, George.
Hi, Tony.
I'm just trying to work out who you look like. When you came in, I thought, God, I know this guy. And I didn't, apart from a really drunken evening where you were drunk and I wasn't, I gather.
That's right,
about 20 years ago.
About 20 years ago, yeah. So I'm hoping you don't remember me.
I'm trying to build your image up.
Yeah, we'll start low and then we'll go from there.
So who motivated you?
Myself, actually. I'll be honest with you. I started off life, for whatever reason, I had a good life, but I made it very difficult.
How do you mean you made it difficult?
Just in my own head. I always found it difficult. I always found life as a difficult experience, you know.
That's weird.
Fearful. So fearful was really my big issue. Yeah. So I kind of started off life very early on, scared of everything, you know. And I went from my teenage years scared of everything. And I went on this quest. You know, I call it a pilgrimage now. A lot of people said I was mucking about through 30 different careers and different jobs and books and libraries and motivational tours and everything else. Just following people and really just trying to work out what it was all about and how I could make it better for myself and create a better experience for myself.
You should have gone to a motivation coach.
The trouble is, back then I didn't know they existed. All I had access to was books.
So when you're a youngster, I mean, but all youngsters go through that, don't they? I mean, you know, when you're a teenager, you're not sure of yourself and you haven't made it or not made it in life, as the case might be.
Yeah, I think what happens is it's our, you know, it's very cliche, but our early experiences of life do dictate who we become. And I think the mistake we make is that we don't necessarily reflect on that and challenge that and question that, and we carry on sort of living out life on a path that was always predetermined by some eventualities that happened when we were younger. And I think, you know, if we were born into an environment that supported, you know, creative thinking, supported success, winning, those sorts of things, you know, bravery, then we grow up and we become that kind of person. But if we grew up in an environment where we were chastised for taking chances, or maybe where we had some unfortunate, you know, situations arise where we learnt not to be assertive or not to take control of our own life, then we start to become a little bit docile and what have you, and just stop taking responsibility really for what we get out of life.
So what changed it round for you then? Is it just you said to yourself, I'm not going anywhere, it doesn't seem to be happening, so I'm going to take charge of my own life? Is that the way you did it?
Yeah, it was really it's really just something that was burning inside of me, that it didn't have to be this difficult, you know. So I didn't know how to make it better, but I thought this can't be right. You know,
it's kind of having self-confidence, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's about, I suppose, it's about realizing. I suppose at some point, you know, you wake up and you realize that actually it's not just the world happening outside of me, and I'm somehow a victim of that. It's a case that actually what I'm doing is causing what's going on outside of me.
And what age was this that you were?
Oh, right through my teens. So I was way too young. When I should have been enjoying myself a bit more.
But teenagers, they don't know where they're going sometimes, do they? I mean, I've always known that I wanted to do what I'm doing now. But most teenagers, I mean, I've got a daughter at 17 and she doesn't quite know which direction she wants to go in. And I think that's a part of growing up, isn't it?
100%. I think I'm
analysing you now.
You analyse me. No, for sure. 100%. What I say is actually basically life is a pilgrimage, you know, and for some of us, you know, we're born and we know what we're destined for, and that's great. There's a huge power to that. And one of the things I help entrepreneurs with is getting that place where they want to get to, setting those goals, setting those outcomes, so that they can go on that course. But for many of us, you know, exactly, we go through life and things happen to us, we learn from it, we learn who we are, and life starts to change. And what I try and help people do is to sort of harness our own personal empowerment so that we can actually start to predetermine where we go rather than maybe life happening to us.
But do you accept the fact that there are probably winners and losers in life to a certain extent? I mean, I guess most of us would love to be Richard Branson.
Yes.
I mean, I would love to be Richard Branson.
Well, he's the entrepreneurial pin-up, right?
Yes,
so he's the entrepreneurial pin-up, you know.
So what's he got that other... I mean, I think right from the word go, when he was a teenager, I mean, he went out, he started, you know, the music business, he started magazines, didn't he? He just had that sort of brain. You can't teach somebody to do that, can you?
I think what it is, it's really interesting because now we're getting into the old nurture, sort of nature debate, as in are some of us born successful and are some of us born losers? The truth of the matter is, I think if anything is predetermined, whether it be genetically or predisposed, I think that's such a small influence compared to our own environmental factors, you know. So in other words, who we what we experienced when we were younger, who taught us, who were our role models and things like that. And I think that's a much greater influence than any particular, you know, predisposition or gene or anything else. And what I try and teach people is to sort of really not use about winners and losers, and really that's a mindset more than an actual physical thing.
But also it is, if you're born into a family that can give you more things as a teenager, then surely it's a lot easier than being born into somebody who hasn't got any money and their parents are, drug addicts or something like that. It might be.
No, I agree with
Not
you.
that necessarily people who are poor are necessarily drug addicts, but if you start off from a higher point, it's a lot easier, isn't it?
I think, well, interestingly, because I've worked with a whole cross-section of people, from people who you might call, I say inverted commas, naturally successful, so people that have always been successful, and I've worked with probably more people that have come from much tougher backgrounds.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that whilst it's easy to stay rooted in what we know, for people who can break free of those early beginnings where life is tougher, I think those people have a greater opportunity sometimes for success. And I've coached loads of people, their life was, I say it sounds crazy, but too easy, where they never learned the knocks of life. I call it entrepreneurial conditioning, where we have to take a few knocks in life. We have to have a few failures. We have to learn how to handle rejection so that we can become strong enough to take on the bigger challenges that success brings. Like yourself, probably in your early career, you have to make the mistakes early so you can get to a point where...
Never made a mistake.
Never make a mistake.
No,
Good for you. No, you're not there.
No, I'm sort of, well, I did actually. I did an incorrect time check in 1964, I think it was.
You still remember it?
Yeah, I do remember it. That was a tragedy. But apart from that, it's been... No, I know what you mean. You do take... And certainly, we all take the knocks.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. I used to think, I was one of those people, and I was someone that I felt like somehow I had life against me, and therefore I felt the people that had things given to them had some natural automatic advantage. The truth is, whether that's true or not, the biggest impact was my thinking and feeling that was true. And the moment you stop feeling and thinking that's true, now you're free to start acting and behaving in a different way. And what I do with my success groups, my BBB Success Groups for entrepreneurs, is I try and take people that have got really good businesses, they've got great entrepreneurial spirit, and what I do is I interject with that what we call the mindset for success. And when you combine those two things, entrepreneurs have an opportunity, I think, that no one else has, or maybe very few people have, which is the freedom to do what they want, when they want, the way they want, for who they want, for the money they want, with who they want. And I think that's one of the key reasons that this finding is there, that we're happier. It's a sense of freedom, and it's the sense of the impact that we can have as entrepreneurs. When you're lost in a bigger business, it's easy to maybe feel that you're not making a difference. It's easy to be, feel like you're somehow imprisoned in that business, or being told what to do, and you lose that autonomy. When you run your own business, whilst it's a weight on your shoulders, it's also a huge freedom and a huge thing. And I think that response that gives us is just a better experience, and these findings show that.
Tell me, first of all, George, we read about all the entrepreneurs who've done well, but of course a lot of entrepreneurs fail as well, don't they? I mean, we know the Alan Sugars, we know the Richard Bransons, but it's a hell of a risk, isn't it?
It is a risk, and that's why it's not for the faint-hearted, However, I think I try and get people to understand is that I was talking to you just off air there, is that one of the essentials for success is that you have to learn to handle failure, and you have to accept that risk. And I think when the risk of not doing what you want to do and not being who you want to be is greater than the risk of failing at it, then I think it becomes a no-brainer, and it's easier to do that. What most people do is they don't get the scales quite weighed up right, and they think that if this fails, I'm going to die and lose everything, which obviously the brain is never going to allow you to take that kind of risk. When we weigh it up, it's never going to be as serious as that.
What I want to know, though, George, is that how did you manage to persuade people to come to you to tell them how to become entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
I mean, that in itself is something, isn't it? I mean, and how do people come to you for?
Yes.
I mean, do you just take people? People ring you up and say, "Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur," or "I want to," my life isn't going in the right direction. Can you help?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. It starts off like anything. You think you've got all the information, you've got the knowledge, you set your business up, and you wait for the phone to ring, and no one does. You've got to do what all good businesses do. You've got to go out there and just push yourself out into the world, and it takes a bit of bravery.
Well, that's what you do.
That's what I do, 100%, and you get known for what you do, and then people like what you stand for. Yeah. And not everyone likes to hear what I say the way I say it. I'm not saying anything that's unique per se. I'm just saying it in my way. And when people align with the way that I believe in, the truth of what it is to be an entrepreneur, to a human being, those people are attracted to me, And I think you start small and you feel comfortable and confident with what you're doing, and then you expand yourself and you expand yourself, and then you get yourself to a place where you're in such a fortuitous position where I do have, lots of people who I suppose follow me, and listen to what I've got to say, and that's a great responsibility. But
Where
a huge
did
reward
you
as well.
basically get your ideas from? Because I mean, a motivation coach, and you can get books on it and things like that
For
from
sure.
America particularly.
America's really
there's America's amazing because you've got books on how to be a great DJ, how
That's
to be
right,
a great
yeah.
this, that, and the other, and most of it's pretty obvious.
It really is, actually. And you know what? The rules of success are really, really simple. It's like losing weight, getting fit. The rules
Yeah.
are really simple. It's the following them that's really difficult, because unless we're the type of person that naturally keeps plugging away, that we can accept those responsibilities, accept those risks, keep developing ourselves and what have
Yeah.
you. If we're not naturally that kind of person, then we resist it ourselves. So the fight is in ourselves, not in what we're trying to achieve. And for me, it was really when I came across some information. So I'd been into personal development and success books, like you say, all from America and
Yeah.
stuff. And I've been doing that since I was probably 17, 18 years old. But for me, where the links came wasn't in what they were saying, because what they were saying is obvious, what they were saying should work, but people weren't doing it. I wasn't doing it. And where it came from was really when I started to understand more about the neuroscience and more about the central nervous system and more about what evolutionary psychology principles, which is the animal that we are as a human being, and why we respond to certain situations the way we do, which either limits or encourages what it is we're trying to create.
Don't you think a lot of it is in success is a personal drive? In other words, I don't think anybody can be lazy and be that successful. I think it's a personal drive, and also a lot of it is surely personality as well. I mean, if you've got somebody there who hasn't got a lot of personality,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to get very far, are they? Can you teach somebody to have a personality?
You can teach them their personality, right? Yeah, but you're asking his business now, Tony. No, but I think what it comes down to...
I'm going to be a free session here. What are you talking about?
Do you know what? I'm feeling better already.
Yeah.
I think what it is, it's about working with the best of what you've got.
Yeah.
I talk about two things, possibility and potential. Possibility is what we think we're capable of achieving. Potential is what we could achieve. And I think most people live their life playing very small, because we're living in the confines of what we believe is possible for us, based on what we've been taught, based on our own personal experience, rather than what inherently we could achieve. One of the examples I use is like athletes. So, for example, I never believed I could be a world-class athlete at 100 meters. So I never trained like a world-class athlete. So I had no idea how fast I could run, because I never started running. And I think with business owners and stuff, if we believe that we can't achieve, if we believe we're not good enough or whatever it might be, it's not the fact that we don't, achieve our possibility. We don't even get going. And I think that's the biggest thing here. I think, it's getting people started. So I work with people at startup level who've got an idea, and I help them form that idea, and I help them believe in themselves. Sounds fluffy, but it's a lot more involved than that.
There's a lot of that.
And I can teach that, and I can get them to buy into that. And then what we do, I say, we have this BBB Success Groups, which is all for entrepreneurs, and it's a support group, it's an education group. We hold each other accountable to what we're trying to do. And what we're doing, of course, is we're kind of manipulating an environment to create that very discipline and drive that you say that you need to be successful, which you're 100% right. And what I'm trying to do is get people that maybe weren't born with that, if you are born with it, or didn't cultivate it early in life. And what I do is I create an environment that stimulates that in all of us, because we all have drive, we all have motivation. It's a chemistry set that's inside us, it's biology. So if we can stimulate that inside of ourselves, then we will become driven. So you can take someone who isn't driven, but has a great idea and a great, love for what they do, and turn them into a driven entrepreneur by providing them with the right external...
And you've got to have a gift of the gab as well, George.
It works for me. It definitely helps.
I'm not having a go. I think you're absolutely 100% right as well. How does anybody get hold of you if they want to be successful and become an entrepreneur?
The easiest way is through our website.
Yeah.
It's bigger, brighter, bolder.co.uk.
The three B's.
The three B's.
Three B's. I've given you something there.
Yeah, it's becoming living, right? You live bigger, you live brighter, you live bolder.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks very much. That's George Swift, Motivation Coach.